Welcome, Brenda Lainoff here of Healing the Healer's Health and Business and website brendalainoff.com. So we're back here today. This would be our third call with Adam Schizkoske. I pronounced that right, Adam, and I'm happy to bring Adam back. This is all about cryptocurrency, and it's such a hot topic, pros and cons right now that's happening, and a lot of conversation, a lot of political implications involved. So there's a lot to this subject. And I know for myself, I'm all about repetition. This is a brand new language, and I need to hear it over and over and over again. And it's just like going to school and learning a new language, or maybe even going to another country and learning a new language. So I'm glad that Adam's back with us today. And Adam, you do many things, but you got this background, like you're very spiritual, and you have this great energy to you. And then you have this whole, a left brain, I like to think of mathematical connection with this whole universe of cryptocurrency. So before we begin, Adam, can you just quickly tell us how you got involved in it, why you did, and then we'll go through and just ask some questions here.
For sure. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. I know you've been on my YouTube channel a few times. Glad to be on your YouTube channel. So to give a brief introduction, my background was with Canadian Tire. For those Canadians that are there, I was a general manager for about 10 years. And although I love that job, it really wears on you after a while. After I left Canadian Tire, I moved on to become a certified life coach, and really enhanced a lot of my skills at that point, and led me into a much deeper spiritual path than what I had ever been before. On my journey, I ended up working for a company called LifeWorks University, which is all based on the book Think and Grow Rich, and really training people on that system in there. Think and Grow Rich is one of my favorite books. There's so much good information in there. And then the second book that he released, Outwitting the Devil, I mean, those two books just really speak to me on so many different levels. And after LifeWorks University closed, I opened my own online subscription-based model called Global Strong. And in Global Strong, what I had found out when I worked for LifeWorks, that probably the number one thing where most small businesses were failing, whether it was online or brick and mortar, was the financial arena. And so I came across a program called Financial Fitness, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And after I dug into that program even more and went through that program a few times, they actually got into talking about cryptocurrency, which at that point I didn't really understand. So this was probably like late 2018. And there was just a few things that were said in there that really piqued my interest to really take a much deeper dive into cryptocurrency, so I could really understand the mechanics of it, why it was a good thing, because I think we all hear kind of these stories that, Bitcoin is this and it's a scam, and, we hear all these different things, and there's so much misinformation and disinformation out there that I really needed to figure it out for myself. And I had known a few people that had made a lot of money in crypto, but I didn't really understand how they did it.
Right.
So that really fired me up to kind of figure this thing out. And when the leaders of this financial fitness course that I took, they were really talking about it. I know it had a lot of credibility behind it, because I know that they don't talk about things, and they don't do things that are, a little grayish. I mean, they're black and white type of people. And so that really got me going and got me started down this rabbit path. Now I know Amanda's on this call with us, and her and I actually met in LifeWorks University. And she is a very extensive energy healer herself. And
Yes.
she's introduced me into so many different modalities and caused me to grow exponentially spiritually more than I've ever done before, and really take a deeper dive into a lot of things that, I mean, I just kind of knew about it, but I didn't really have, I didn't really investigate much into it.
Right.
So that kind of led me into, where I am now, which is there are so many healers, energy healers, doing all sorts of different wonderful things. But the gap that's missing right now, or at least that I think is missing,
Mhm.
is we just don't have enough money, and we're just getting by surviving with our current job, and we're not doing the energy healing that we need to do to heal the world. And
Right.
right now, there's so much healing that needs to be involved, that needs to be done, after COVID-19 and after everything that's going on. And, I mean, all the children and across the world, I mean, we could go down so many deep rabbit
Mhm.
holes, but we won't go down there for this call. So as I got going, the one thing that I saw that was starting to happen is that I had a lot of energy healers reaching out to me saying, listen, I want to get going with crypto, but I have no idea, what's a scam and what's not. I don't want to lose money. I get it that it's risky, but I just need someone to kind of guide me and help me. And so if my personal goal is to help all the energy healers invest safely and properly into crypto so that they can exponentially grow, and then they can take their gifts and start to heal the
Mhm.
world.
Excellent.
That's really my passion right now. And I know Vicky is on the call with us. She's in the program. I know, Brenda, you're into the program that I'm recommending. Kim is also just getting started. We'll have her finalize. Amanda's obviously in there. And Sonia, I'm not sure about just yet, but I mean, that's really where I come from. That's my passion. That's where I am. And that's the real reason why I'm doing crypto right now.
Okay. Well, and what a great blend to have someone like you, Adam, who you have the practical side, and you also are very, very, very intuitive. So it's a great combination. That and all that you're picking up right now. This is the different modalities and how you've been helped is great. Now, I just have to step back a bit because crypto has been very much in the forefront. What's happening right now on this planet, and it's specifically what happened here in Canada, where I live, where you're from, and several other people here probably that'll be listening at a later date. So, as we know, our federal government was trying to the fear to people who've invested in cryptocurrency that they could somehow access the accounts. And I know that really affected me for the fact that they could get into our bank accounts, excuse me, and put the fear of God into us. So I think a lot of us were like, "Oh, what the heck's going on? What do we do? Is it even safe?" And we're hearing the pros and cons. I believe, isn't it also in the U.S. that um, Biden's looking at is something with the crypto there as well? So, can you give us some heads up of what you sense and what you know, what's going on, just sort of a realistic point of view, your point of view of how you see cryptos playing out politically?
Yeah, so I'll try not to get too political, but they're obviously it's being talked about on all different levels right now, the political side of crypto. So to answer your first question, when the mainstream media first reported that they were freezing truck drivers' accounts where people were giving them money to just put gas into their trucks, is an absolute lie. It's impossible to lock someone's account in crypto, first of all, because the first thing we have to remember is that cryptocurrency is decentralized. So what does that really mean at the end of the day? Well, what that means is in the current financial system, all the money is centralized. It all goes into the central banking system, and then it all basically flows up to the Rothschild family after everything's all said and done. So that's basically the way that that works. And that's a really basic way of saying it. I mean, there's a lot more details involved. With cryptocurrency, it's decentralized. So what that means is that in order for you to receive cryptocurrency or send cryptocurrency, it's got to go through thousands of computers to get processed before, if I send you crypto, for example, Brenda, it's got to go through thousands of computers to be processed and verified and checked before you can actually receive it. So that's the difference. So when they said that they froze people's accounts, anyone who's in crypto for any amount of time, that was the biggest joke. And we laughed about it. And what happened very soon afterwards, you didn't hear it in the mainstream media because people just know. People are too aware. It's the people that don't know or they know just a little bit that got scared that, oh my God, they can do this too. Now, when they froze bank accounts, what I had found out, which I actually didn't know if you live in Canada, so the difference between the US and Canadian banking system is that the Canadian banking system, although it looks like there's different companies, all the 5 major banks are all owned by the government. They're all under the government umbrella. So that means the government can actually legally lock down your bank account.
Adam, if I can just interrupt, is it not also, from what you know, or do you know, does that include all the credit unions?
No, credit unions are not a part of the central banking system. So
See,
if
that's that gray area that I'm hearing two sides to the story on that, because I was thinking about switching to a credit union. But
yeah, I would highly recommend, if you do not want to be part of the central banking system, for you to get into a credit union as soon as you can. Now, if you do banking in the United States, all of their banks are all privately owned.
Yes.
So that means the government can't actually legally go in and do anything to a privately owned bank. And as far as I know, there is no government-owned banks. So, so the US has a little bit more flexibility in their banking system, but still all of their major banking systems that they have all flow into the central banking system or under the SWIFT banking system. So, so this is really important, and I'm going to try to really stay light on the politics when I get into this. The SWIFT banking system, if you've been following what's really going on in the Russia-Ukraine thing right now, Russia has kicked the Rothschilds out of Russia, and he's also backed away from the SWIFT banking system. He's actually cut it off. So what does that mean at the end of the day? Well, Russia right now, for all intents and purposes, looks like they are activating cryptocurrency as their main form of funds.
Interesting.
And I haven't been able to confirm this just yet. There are 11 other countries, unnamed, that are also following Russia on this.
Okay, very interesting. And so things seem to be, I'm sensing things are really escalating. And you go through that balance of, I don't want to panic. At the same time, you want to make the right moves. And I think we're just in that, in this right now. And again, it's like, whoa, a lot of deep breaths, following your intuition. And you just want to be as certain as possible and, listen to our gut. So Vicky just commented, Vicky's in Canada. I heard that the credit unions have to comply with all the federal government rules and regulations. Does this still mean they are not part of the central banking system?
Correct. Yeah, so that's correct. They do have to comply with them, and there's certain rules and regulations that they have to follow. But it does mean that they're disconnected still from that central banking system. They're still on the outside of that. So that's why, you probably hear every once in a while, anytime they can discredit a credit union, they're going to do it. They're going to do everything they possibly can because it takes away from their main system that they have in place and it's pulling it on the outside. And that's the same thing with crypto. It's taking from their central banking system and it's putting it into a different system. And if enough of that happens, I think I don't even know the numbers, but I think if 10% of the world's population did that, the central banking system would collapse within 24 hours if it got to 10% of the world's population.
It makes you wonder what percentage of the world are awake. 10% of the world are awake, and that correlates with crypto. And, wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, I think from the last time that I did some research on how many people are actually doing anything with crypto, it's about 2% of the world's population. So it just goes to show there's a lot of opportunity for people that are in crypto right now to really take advantage of it. The last time that something major happened in the world, which was World War II, which was a lot of chaos in the world, every single millionaire or billionaire that is still alive today from the World War II era, they became rich because of World War II. They saw the opportunity and they took it and they ran with it. So we're in a similar, but a lot more explosive opportunity, I believe, with crypto. So you had made a comment earlier of, what can we do to take advantage of this with everything going on? And there is a lot. And I study this basically every day. And I'm into it every day. And I'm following other experts on what they're saying. And I've compiled a list of, I think it's 20 to 25 coins to be investing into. So when you get going with crypto, there are different strategies that you can do. So the very first strategy when crypto first came out, if you did what they call a buy, so you bought Bitcoin in 2009 and you held on to it until today, if you bought $500 worth of Bitcoin, and I know you guys won't answer, or maybe you can put it in the comments. If you bought $500 worth of Bitcoin back in 2009, how much would that Bitcoin be worth today, approximately?
We don't want to know.
And well, you guys, if you want to throw your answers into the chat, you can.
Okay.
So just take a guess, Brenda, on what you think that might be worth.
500. And I know you brought that up before. I'm going to say 550,000.
So the answer is probably about 600 million is what it would be worth right now if you had did that. So that is the very first strategy that was ever formed in cryptocurrency. Now, there are other strategies, and although I think that one's really good, you do have to be very patient and you do have to wait for the right time to sell your Bitcoin. So there is a gentleman, and he's famous now for doing this. And he was the very first person that made Bitcoin a legal tender. So he had 10,000 Bitcoins, and he was hungry one night, and he called the owner of Papa John's and he said, "Hey, can I buy 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin?" And the owner of Papa John said, "Well, what is this Bitcoin thing?" And he explained it to him. He's like, "Sure, I'll take your Bitcoin for 10 grand for 10,000 Bitcoin." So 10,000 Bitcoin today, you can do the math. It's like 40,000 a Bitcoin. You can kind of do the math on how much that is. So anyways, he's made famous now for doing that, but he was actually the first person to make it a legal tender. So, you can look at it on one way or the other, but that's what happens in crypto. And so that's the first strategy. The second strategy that I recommend, if you don't want to do the buy and hold, where you have a big opportunity to, is something they call day trading. And
Mhm,
day trading is exactly what we all know of it. You see
mhm.
the brokers on Wall Street, and they're yelling and screaming, and they're in this pit, and they're, buy, sell, and they're all doing that sort of thing. That that's the old way of doing trading. The new way of doing trading is using what they call bots or trading bots, or basically a
Mhm.
software program that is programmed to look at the charts all day long and see opportunities when they can buy and see opportunities when they can sell and make you profit. So I have a very good software program that I recommend for people to get into that just does nothing but do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when you're sleeping and the markets are
Mhm.
fluctuating, you can actually wake up in the morning and you can see potentially on how much profit you made. Um, and so that's the other way that I recommend. There are some
Okay.
other ways that you can, other strategies that are being formed. But when I'm just getting going with the beginners,
Mhm.
I don't like to go more than that because,
Right. It gets to
you
be
know,
too much.
right. So the
Yeah.
information I probably shared already is just like, people's heads are spinning. But the
Mhm.
good thing about this is that, well, I mean, crypto is growing so fast, like I can't even keep up with it. So if I can't even keep up with it, I know that the beginners are going to have a hard time keeping up with it. So all I try to do is I try to get the information um, shortened and simplified so that people can say, oh, okay, that makes sense. I see how that works. And I may not need to know everything, but as
Mm.
long as I know some of the things just to kind of get started.
Okay. Now, as to the crypto, and if you could just have us, from what I understand, there's a soft wallet and a hard wallet.
Mhm.
Can you, so once you get going and say people decide, oh, Adam, I like to work with you. Can you set me up? I don't know what I'm doing. I know for myself, you walked me through, okay, go to the bank, certain steps. Can you explain once, you get this set up and, they say they connect with you and you work through the different processes. What is the difference between a soft wallet and a hard wallet? Because I always find that a little like, you know, concerning at times. Like I want to have the information with me. I don't want anyone to have access to it. What's the safest route to go if you're traveling or whatever your situation may be?
Um, so there's a lot of different slang terms and different terminology that they use in crypto. So sometimes they call it a hard wallet. And so a hard wallet, an e-wallet, or hot wallet are all the same
Okay.
things.
Oh, okay.
And and so what that really means at the end of the day is it's actively on a trading platform for you to decide whatever you want to do with your cryptocurrency. So if you want to do the buy and hold strategy, for example, then you can buy it and you can just leave it sit there. If
Okay.
you then say, hey, I've been holding this for a while, it's gone up, I want to sell this, and I want to have my cash back, and I want to buy a new car or something, then that's what a hot wallet does. Is it allows you to do that instant transaction and that instant trade. Um, Now, I don't recommend that you use a hot wallet for a buy and hold. And the reason is that, well, there's many different reasons, but I'll try to simplify it, is that it can be prone for hackers to get into your account and steal your money.
Okay.
And now, with that being said, is there's a lot of extra security that I set up for everyone that most people don't know how to do. And it makes it very, very difficult for hackers
Right.
to get in and steal your money. Um, so that's the first thing with the hot wallets. Um, if and I'm going to simplify it. There's more to it, but I'm just going to keep it
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Right. Right.
The other part, when you said soft wallets are more often referred to as cold wallets.
Okay.
So what a cold wallet and a soft wallet essentially are is something that is not connected to a trading platform where you can just store your cryptocurrency. And there's two different ways right now that you can do it. There is one way called using Exodus, which is an app-based program that gets installed onto your computer or your phone, or your phone, it can be both.
Okay.
And you can just store your cryptocurrency in there. Now, what I'm going to say with the Exodus app is that it does store up to about 50 to 75 different coins. It does not store all of them. So
Okay.
depending on what cryptocurrency you want to do the buy and hold on, not all of them can go into Exodus. The other option that you have, which is a good option, but also has some pros and cons with it.
Yes.
So the pro with the Exodus wallet is that as long as you have the username and password and the 12-key secret phrase code, phrase, then you can essentially anywhere in the world, any computer in the world, you can access your Exodus wallet and you can move funds around. So that's the pro with it. There isn't too many cons except for there just isn't a lot of coins on there. So if there's specific coins that you want to invest into, you may not be able to store it in an Exodus wallet.
Okay.
The next option that you have for cold wallets is something that they call the Trezor wallet. And there are other brand names now that are coming out that are basically a Trezor wallet, but Trezor was the first one to come out with this as an option.
How do you spell that? I was going to say Barry, Adam. How do you spell that?
Trezor is Trezor, Trezor.
Okay, thank you.
And so what a Trezor wallet basically is, it's like a USB stick that gets plugged into your computer, and you are basically adding the cryptocurrency into the Trezor wallet. It comes up like an app-based program. Then you would transfer it onto that USB stick, you would log out, and now you have all of your cryptocurrency in a USB stick is essentially what you have. The pro with that is there's lots more cryptocurrency coins that you can store on there, and it's good, and you can keep it in your pocket at all times. And as long as you can get onto a computer that is connected to the internet, then you can actually move your funds around and you can get at your funds. The con with that is if you lose that USB stick, your cryptocurrency is gone. There's nothing you can do to get it back.
Can you make duplicates of these USB sticks? You know, if you can.
No, I don't know for sure, but you could probably, I would say you probably can't. So there is not a lot of backdoors for cryptocurrency. Just because that when it's decentralized, that means it's not like, like if you forgot your password on a certain website and you call support. Well, there's no support on cryptocurrency if you want to keep, really good protection on your cryptocurrency. And so there's one other way that is an option. If those two aren't that appealing to you. And these are called decentralized wallets. So most of the hot wallets that you're going to get into are what they call centralized hot wallets. And so what a centralized hot wallet means is that when you transfer your money from your bank account into your account, and you've bought, Bitcoin or whatever you bought with it, most of the wallets are centralized. So that means everyone on this call, if we all were on, Coinbase or whatever we were on, it would all go into one central wallet in Coinbase. And then, but it would be, you would still know how much you have in your account, but this one wallet would have, billions worth of cryptocurrency all stored on there. And they just manage the money that way of going back and forth. So that's what they call a centralized wallet. A decentralized wallet means exactly that. It means that you own it outright. You're the owner of it. If you lose the keys, if you lose anything, passwords, you're never getting it back. It's gone. And so what that basically is, the ones that I would recommend that you use are called MetaMask or Trust Wallet. And basically, when you get into those, all you need is an internet connection, and your funds can be easily moved around from there, and you can do whatever you want with your funds, and no one's there. No one else has potential of stealing your cryptocurrency, and even hackers don't even try to go into those accounts typically. If they do, what they're going to ask you for is what's your username and password. This is support from MetaMask. If you don't give them that information, they just can't get into it. So
these trust, sorry, but the trust wallets, is that something that you set people up on? Is the trust wallet?
I will say this is that for the beginners, typically not. I mean, that's starting to get a little bit more advanced.
Okay.
And kind of what we're doing as the beginning program is we're just not, there's just no need for doing that. So we typically won't have to do that.
No, this is good, and it really is something that, like I mentioned before, but it's repetition, 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 because it's a new language.
Exactly.
Does anybody have any questions that you want to open up with? I imagine there's a million, but if you want to open up your and just unmute, go ahead and do that and ask Adam.
Kim, was that the wallets that you're talking about? So Trust Wallet or MetaMask?
MetaMask?
MetaMask, yeah, I put it in the chat there for you.
Okay, thanks.
Here's what I will say though. If you don't know how to use those, just don't download it and just kind of go through everything. There are some really critical security steps that I would like to help you with so that you can really protect yourself. If you don't do these steps, you could lose money very, very quickly. I know people that have lost things, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's no backdoors in decentralized wallets.
Well, MetaMask is a decentralized wallet too.
MetaMask and Trust Wallets are both decentralized.
Here's a question from Vicky. She says, how does one take money out of crypto without going through the bank account, your bank account?
So there's some ways right now. It's evolving extremely fast. So there are platforms that you can use. One of them is Crypto.com, which is a very common one, which I would recommend, where you can get like a Visa card and you can transfer your money into Crypto.com and then put it onto your Visa card and then use your Visa card to get gas or groceries or whatever you want to get.
So you can, okay, can you repeat that again? There's a Visa card?
Yeah, it's a Visa card that you get. So if you go and sign up for Crypto.com, and once you get verified on your account, you can actually apply to get one of their credit cards, which is just a Visa card, is basically all that it is.
Okay.
And you would just put your cryptocurrency onto your Visa card. And then, you put the chip in like you normally would and put your 4-digit password in there, and you're all set. You're all good to go.
You see more and more companies accepting Bitcoin. Is that accelerating as well?
Oh, very, very quickly. Like when I got going in 2018, I mean, it was a few thousand places around the world. It's probably well over 100 to 300,000 places now that are accepting cryptocurrency. And now that they have this new system out like Crypto.com, and that's just an example, there are many other companies that have it. They don't even know if you're using crypto or if you're using cash, like in the current banking system. They have no idea. So it's just instantly converted for them to use.
Okay. I see we have somebody new coming in, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to open up for Adam. So Adam, what would the process? So somebody goes, okay, Adam, I really like you to help me out and just take my baby steps. So you walk them through the process. What, when they meet with you, what are the steps? What do they have to do to open up a crypto account?
Yeah, so first of all, there's a couple different questions that I would like to ask. Oh, hi, Ann. So the first question that I ask is, how much are you planning on investing in crypto? How much do you want to get started with? If that answer is less than 500, then I recommend some different hot wallets to actually use. If it's more than 500, the one that I know has the highest security of anything over 500 is I get them set up with a CoinZoom account, all one word, coinzoom.com account. And the reason for that one is we vetted that company. They are in the United States and they do comply with SEC laws, and they actually are above those laws. Like they, not above, but they actually do more than the basic requirements of those laws. So I know that any money going in there is very safe and very secure. Then at that point, we do wire transfers. And the reason that we do wire transfers is because it actually speeds up the process. Most of the other wallet companies, when we go to put money in, especially when it's your first time, it's usually anywhere from a 7 to a 60-day hold on the money before we can do anything with it. So that's kind of step one, is just kind of figuring out, how you want to invest in a crypto. Is it just, a little bit, like $500, or is it more? And if it's more, then we like to take those little steps. Now, it's not to say that with CoinZoom, if it's less than 500, you could still wire the money in and still have access to it within a few hours. And but there are some other options at that point that I would look to do that just kind of makes it a little bit easier than wiring money in, because when you wire money in, you actually have to go into the bank, or at least most banks require you to go in there to wire the money. So that's kind of step one. Step two then is, once the money is in whatever hot wallet that we have, then we have to figure out what the strategy is on what you want to do with crypto. So is it buy and hold? Is it getting into trading bots? And there are other options. And I see that Anne is actually talking about NFTs, and that's a whole, I'll talk about that in a few minutes here. But okay. So then I really want to know the strategy that you're looking to do. And if you know a little bit about crypto and you have an idea on what you want to do, then we would have a discussion about it. And I would really want to make sure that you know all the pros and cons, and you also know the risks that are all involved. So I don't want to get anyone into anything that's too risky. I've been involved in many, many different programs that, looking back, I didn't know they were very high risk, but they're the riskiest of programs. I don't get into those risky programs. Yes, I know people make a lot of money at them, but I also know most people lose a lot of money at them. Make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we're talking about back to having the numbers or the code, so we have these numbers that we're given. We save that, like we have to save our information. It's secure, that we can access it, maybe in different places. And I know there's a lot of areas that we can go. People also, our significant others need to know about this information, just something happened where they can access. So this is a very big piece. It's like this whole needs, everything about our crypto needs to be, information needs to be provided to significant, family members in case something happens to us. So I think that's something that we really have to relay to people as well. And even as far, and I'm just going to throw it out because it's coming to my mind, even as putting into your will. So I just want to throw that out because nobody knows. And especially if, if things do take off like they did with Bitcoin, and you just want to know that your family's taken care of. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that, what was on my mind.
Well, I think I think that's a really important thing. So what we're actually seeing now is that there are some grandparents and parents that bought this thing back in 2010 or 2011 called Bitcoin. They had no idea what it was. They wrote the username and password down and they forgot about it. All of a sudden they pass away. They're going through all the paperwork and they see Bitcoin address and they see all these things and people are logging into it and they have millions of dollars in there worth of Bitcoin because they wrote it down. And so what I'd recommend is, and so this is one thing, if you choose to work with me and you want me to manage your account for you, is I also have those username and passwords so that if anything does happen to you, you can, put it for your kids to say, hey, I have a back door just in case this does happen, reach out to this guy and he'll be able to get you into the accounts and get everything you want. And if I had found out that someone had passed away, I would make every attempt to try to get in touch with their loved ones to say, hey, listen, when you're ready for it, just let me know. I've got the username and passwords to get into the account and I can transfer the money over or whatever. So just kind of an extra added level of security. But what I highly recommend is, and as you start to work with me, and Brenda, you know this, and I know Kim knows this, and Vicky knows this, is I say, get a pen and paper and start writing. And I'm going to pause and I'm going to make sure that you have your username and passwords all written down on a piece of paper, only where you know it's going to be. And I prefer, once you're not using it, to put it into a fireproof safe. So that way, at any time, if anything ever happens, you know that you have everything locked in. I don't want to be the only point for you. If something happens to me, I do have a backdoor with my business partner where she would know where all this information is to get it to you to unlock that door. But I always like to keep, just reminding people to make sure you have your username and passwords written down on a piece of paper. It's important.
So if it is in a fireproof safe, then of course, then you need to let your family members know they have access. Say it's in a bank. The bank has given permission for that particular person access to your safety deposit box. So there's a lot of areas that we really need to double check on and it's almost like, here's a list. Make sure you do this, 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 this. So I think that would be great to, set up, is making sure, we feel we're comfortable, we're feeling that we're protected. Just a question came in from Vicky. Can you buy gold and or silver? Now, are we talking the actual physical gold, Vicky, and silver, or are we talking on paper? Can you buy gold and silver through cryptocurrency?
So there are a few companies right now where you can trade your crypto for physical gold or silver that I'm aware of. But to go a little bit farther with that, there are, and this hasn't been announced unless you are very tuned into the financial crypto world on what's happening. There are a few coins right now that are going to be backed by gold, silver, bronze, and platinum. And I happen to know what those coins are. And this is where I recommend people do investing into. Sorry, I don't recommend, I give suggestions. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a planner. I'm not any of that stuff. And nor do I have the credentials to even go through it. But what I do suggest is to take a look at those coins, and I can show you the information that I read. And so where I get a lot of my information from is coinmarketcap.com. And I'll put it into the chat so everyone can see it. But this will give you a pretty big overview of everything that's going on with any kind of cryptocurrency. So that's it right there. So I hope that answers. And I know Anne had a question that I want to make sure I get onto this one. So her first question was, do I have experience with Coinbase? My answer is yes. I do have a Coinbase account. But one of my good friends is a cybersecurity expert in the United States for the federal government. And most people do not know this. And I'm asking that you don't go out and publicly tell everyone because it is very hush hush right now because there are billions of dollars tied up with this. But I recommend that you don't use Coinbase, period. Right now, when you sign their their agreement form and you check off the box that you agree to their terms and conditions, somewhere in the terms and conditions, and I mean, I haven't verified it, but I just trust my friend that, you know, what he's telling me is the truth, is that it says in there that they have the right to go into your cryptocurrency and take any amount of cryptocurrency if they need to. And they are. And you may not even notice that it's missing. And so I don't recommend anyone use Coinbase at all for that reason. It is very simple to use, very easy to use. The only time I will ever recommend anyone uses Coinbase is if you do something that I call an in and out, because it's easy to use. You're buying cryptocurrency and you're sending it out immediately. That's the only time. That's the only time I recommend it.
Sorry, Adam, isn't that what you did with, I know if I'm thinking back when you set myself up, it was like, remember you saying something about that, just very in and then out, just to get going and then out again.
Yeah, do not store your cryptocurrency in Coinbase. Store it in any other wallet but Coinbase. Their managers are taking people's crypto without them knowing about it. Wow. And there are so many investigations going on right now with it. Again, according to my friend, I don't have firsthand information. I'm just telling you what he's told me, and he's asked me to not tell a lot of people, but I'm telling people that, you know, first of all, that are energy healers. That's my first thing, is I really want to protect the energy healers and people who are on the 5D kind of vibration and into that. So the second thing is that this is what I am currently using to learn. I'm looking at NFTs as well, not understanding it, but no, it is where I want to get into. So let me try to explain NFTs in a very simplified way. And this is a very, very simplified way. NFTs are, first of all, the hottest thing in crypto right now, by far. And NFTs are not new. So first of all, what does NFT actually mean? Yeah. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. Non-fungible token. That's the actual terminology for what an NFT is. Right. Now, what does that mean at the end of the day in a very simplified way so you guys can understand it? It is basically digital artwork. And you define what digital artwork actually is. If you think digital artwork is a picture, then that's what it is. If you think it's sound or music or a song, that's artwork. That's what they're referring to as. If you think it's a video of something that you find really awesome, then that can also be turned into an NFT. Now, where are NFTs being used and why are they being used? So I'm going to tell you two sides to NFTs, first of all. The side that we all see or we're hearing about now, but a lot of us don't know how to use it, is the exciting part of NFTs. Is NFTs probably got started anywhere from 2016 and 2017, and it did nothing. Everyone said, this is such a joke, it's not going to do anything. For some reason, and I actually know the reason, in 2020, NFTs just blew up the marketplace. And people started selling NFTs for hundreds of millions of dollars that, in my opinion, were the worst kind of digital picture that you can possibly imagine. So I dug into it a lot and I wanted to know why. Why was it selling for that much? So let me tell you the good side, and then I'll tell you the bad side on what I found out is NFTs are here to stay. And if you're interested in learning more about NFTs, I've partnered with a friend who is actually writing a course on understanding NFTs a lot better. And she's going to have it ready very, very soon. I don't know when that date is, but if you want some more information on the course, I think it's an 8 or 10-week course that she's actually going to go through. She takes a deep dive into it and how you can actually make money at NFTs. So basically what you would do if you wanted to create your own NFT, your own digital artwork on whatever your definition of digital artwork is you would have to come up with some kind of picture. Up until recently, you had to code, you had to be a coder to use NFTs. That's why they didn't really take off. And you had to, plug and play with it in order to get it. Now, here's the exciting part, and here's the really awesome part with NFTs, is an NFT is located on the blockchain. When you code it right and you upload it, there was 2 sites that were for the longest time doing NFTs, and now there's one called OpenSea.io, and the other one isn't as popular, and I can't remember what it's called. You do have to know coding in order to do an NFT on those sites. There is another one called Capture, which is an app-based program that will also do NFTs for you now. And it's much easier to use because all you have to do is take a picture with your phone and then you can upload it into the marketplace. So it's a much, much easier to use if you want to go down that road and you want to start to experiment with NFTs. The way that you make money with NFTs is that when you've put your NFT onto the blockchain, and if you're not sure what the blockchain is, I mean, I would love to go through it at probably a different time, but the NFTs will basically, you can sell them to make money. So right now, if you haven't heard a lot about NFTs, most of the major artists in the world, whether they're painters, whether they're musicians, or whether they're doing some other kind of art form, they're all switching into it. And the question that you need to know is, why are they doing it? Well, Spotify right now is the main collection agency, if you want to call it, where artists lose all of their money or most of their money. They lose like 90% of their money of anything that they do because it's got to go through Spotify. So they're basically cutting out Spotify. So Spotify, in my opinion, is going to be non-existent unless they can figure out how to pivot on this. So that's the exciting part with it, is that it allows it to go into a different area, and artists now can do their own thing if they want a coder, or they can find someone who can code, or on all these new app-based programs. And there are more app-based programs than the one I just said. I think there's 3 or 4 that I know of. But that's the exciting part with NFTs. Going back to talk a little bit about the why were NFTs selling for so much? So here's the dark side to NFTs, is that I didn't know this until I started to look into it, but there is a tax loophole through the entire world that billionaires take advantage of. And the way that they hide their money is through artwork. If they have artwork, they can buy and sell artwork, and they can hide their money in there. And they say this artwork is worth, 3 billion or whatever it's worth. And it looks like the ugliest thing, but they do it to hide their money so they don't have to pay taxes. What they found out was, and I'm going to try not to go down this rabbit hole, but it kind of correlates a little bit. I don't know if you all heard about the Wayfair scandal and what happened with the Wayfair scandal and the child sex trafficking, on how they were doing it on their websites. And if this is the first time you're hearing it, apologize, but there was a big scandal that happened in late 2020, I think it was, or 2021. I can't remember when the scandal was. But at any rate, they had found it on Amazon. They had found it on all the major retailing websites. So what the they decided to do was, instead of going through Wayfair, they decided to go through NFTs. So they started selling the child sex trafficking through the NFTs and selling artwork and digital artwork that people didn't really care about, and basically doing that. Now that's been shut down, that I'm aware of. Is it still going on? It might be, but it's very, very small. But that's the dark side of NFTs. It looks like to me it's been cleaned up already. And too many people are just aware of it, of all the child sex trafficking. And as soon as they saw it, it just went viral for the people that are plugged in. And then people stopped with that side of the NFTs, and they started finding the people that were doing this and that were trying to do artificially pump up the NFT program. But NFTs are here to stay. So to go back and just summarize really quickly on NFTs, if you want to make money in NFTs, you either need to be an artist and you have to know how to upload it into the blockchain. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I just want to plant this seed about cryptocurrency is, if we go back into the late 1800s, when there was the gold rush up in the Yukon, the people that were mining for the gold, most of them did not make hardly anything. The people who made all the money in the gold rush were the bartenders, were the people selling the equipment and the tools that the miners needed on a day-to-day basis. So if you want to make money, and I'm going to say these two things, either in NFTs or the metaverse, which is the other major crypto thing that's happening. And if you don't know about the metaverse, I'd recommend to go on to Amazon Prime Video and watch a movie called Ready Player One. It talks about the metaverse and explains it in an entertainment kind of way. If you want to make money in any one of those two things, you need to figure out the tools that people are going to need in order to go into that space. That's all I'm going to say about NFTs. And does that kind of help? Do you have any more questions about NFTs, or did I go a little bit too deep? And because I mean, it kind of, we went a little far, but I hope that explains it and simplifies it as best as I can describe it right now.
And Adam, I'm sure people can contact you. Maybe that's what we should go, getting close to the hours. We can definitely pick up on so much of this in the future. I know it was Rob about investing through Rally or this idea for NFTs. So is that something you can answer quickly, Adam, or would you like to talk about that at another time?
Yeah, I haven't heard of Rally or Otis, but if you like, one of the things that I do and my friend who's in cybersecurity is we actually do research into companies to make sure that before you do anything with it, you don't get scammed. So if you're part of my inner circle and you say, hey, Adam, I want to invest in this coin, or I want to check out this program, or I want to do this, I just say, before you do anything, just have me look at it really quick. There's a lot of quick things that you can do that you can tell if a company's scamming you. And I go through that first kind of scrub. If I find any red flags, I tell you to hold on. I send it to my friend. He looks at it, and usually within 5 to 10 minutes, I mean, we've picked it apart and say, don't do anything with these people. So if you're interested, I'll put my email in the chat. Just reach out to me with links, and we can check it out really, really quickly to see if it's worth investing through those companies. The key that you want to look at if you want to do your own homework and not get me involved is see where they're located in the world, first of all. Any company that's located in North America, pretty much you don't have a lot to worry about. If they're located outside of North America, then that's when you really have to do a lot of homework. You really, really have to dig into it. If they're located in China, that's where you have to be incredibly cautious. in the Middle East or Russia, Ukraine area, you got to be extremely cautious about moving forward with it. So just kind of do your due diligence before you do any kind of investing like that. And if you don't want to do it and you want to send it off to me, I'm happy to look at it because it honestly helps me when people ask me these questions later on.
And obviously what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, that whole thing, some may say we're in World War III, some may say we're heading for that, and maybe not. But things are escalating very, very quickly. So we'll definitely do this again, Adam, because I can just sense, people are going to be really gravitated towards it and curious if they haven't stepped in yet, and wanting to get some more answers and clarity. So meanwhile, there's your email address of that we can just give information to. So AKKABAMM@gmail.com, AKKAGAMM@gmail.com, where they can get in touch with you, and we'll do this again. And then, to go through the process, and I think it's phenomenal to help all the energy healers here. We're all very intuitive, and I know that on another level, there's so many things that can get in our way. If we've lost money in the past life, if we have been robbed and taken advantage of, all those blocks can get in the way. And so definitely there's an area that I feel very guided to work on in my own YouTube calls. So this is great. I appreciate what you're doing, and let's do it again. And we'll have questions ahead of time. Maybe they can provide that, and then we can just continue on. So very cool.
Yeah.
And
yeah. That's one thing I'll say, Brenda, that you've said a few times, is that in cryptocurrency, for a good example, Kim and I have been working together these past couple of weeks. I've got her all set up, ready to go. We're just waiting for the new trading bot to take in effect, and then she'll be actively trading. But she said in the comment, this is good to go over this information, and you do have to repeat it several times. But as you start going through this more and more and more, you kind of get on how everything flows and how the information is and why it works a certain way. And the problem is that most of us just are not into it as much as I am on a day-to-day basis. So, what I'm seeing and what I'm doing, it's just very natural. And I think, it's fair to say is you're flipping screens and you're going too fast and I don't even know what you're doing anymore. And that's what everyone kind of says. And I'm like, okay, sorry, I'll slow down. And I try to explain it as I'm going, but I know even though when I'm explaining it, there's just so much information coming on and you don't really know how to process it. So that's really what I try to do is when you're ready for that next information, ask me a question. Say, hey, what does this mean? Because at that point, then I know you're ready to receive the answer and you're ready to retain that information. When I'm just kind of feeding all you this stuff, you're not really, processing it all, and you're not really remembering what it all means as soon as we get off the call. So I think it's important that we go through this. And I love doing something like this. If you guys need to do it more frequently, I'd love to do it more frequently, whether it's advanced, beginners, or intermediate type of stuff. But, if you want to get a more advanced, there's a lot more advanced stuff that you can do in crypto. But I just try to keep it simple and easy when I get onto these calls.
I think for a lot of us, we can get a lot of money blocks and not realize it. And that's obviously a whole leg to that many of us can work with. But and this is good learning together because a lot of us, we do the energy work or we're interested in it. So it's tapping into that intuition and not feeling stupid, like, oh my gosh, I don't understand this. And I really do believe it's like learning a new language. So if we can sort of put that into perspective, I think then we can sort of be okay with all of this and not so hard on ourselves, and just know that we're one. What did you say, 2% of the world? Adam, I mean, it may seem like there's a lot more. And then what's, again, watching geopolitically what's going on with the world. And when someone says it's black, well, maybe it's white. When the government says this is the way that it is, and what happened here in Canada, which is no words, you're going to get your bank accounts, and I'll tell you, that has set us back. Our confidence level is just gone downhill. And maybe our prime minister did us a favor because he's showing his true colors. So we have to really go through the muck and learn this, all these, learn about crypto, and one step at a time. So yeah, thank you, Adam. I think we'll probably end it here, and we'll pick this up maybe in a few weeks, and maybe people can have some more questions, and then we can all learn together here. So it's great. I appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brenda.
Yeah. And okay, so thanks everyone. And we'll just stop the recording now, and I'll get this up on my Healing Healers Health and Business, and for Adam, and also on my YouTube. Okay, so I'll just stop.